So, welcome to the fourth battle of the Taros Air War campaign. For those who don't know, this is a solo campaign. I just needed something to do. Hopefully you'll enjoy the battle and have some good feedback from me. This battle is the first time I'm using both the low-level rules and the limited ammunition rules from the new AI companion book, as well as, once again, using the enhanced damage rules. As it's a lengthy report, I'll be breaking down the times in the description below so you can skip the parts you don't want to listen to or look at. So sit back and relax and let me know what you think. We're finally getting into missions that are actually within the Taros campaign book. The Dogfight is your typical training type mission. Basically, two forces equal size going head to head until one runs or is destroyed. This mission is intended for forces from 25 to 250 points in size. I'm going to roll for the size. 1 and 2 is 50 points, 3, 4 is 75 points, and 5, 6 is 100 points. Because the number of special rules and the first time playing with some of them, I want to keep the forces on the low end of the scale. Interestingly, the mission is recommended for all aircraft types, which is obvious by the mission name. However, there are rules for deployment of ground defenses. I'm assuming this is so some teams can take and fill up their points a little better. With alternate deployment, the winner of the roll-off deploys the first aircraft, choosing any edge and deploying one aircraft within 3 hexes of that edge. The opponent then deploys one of their aircraft on the opposite edge, also within 3 hexes. Players alternate deploying their aircraft until all are deployed. Both sides' aircraft can deploy at any altitude and speed. Just remember, we're doing low level, so no aircraft can be over altitude 2. Anything over altitude 2 is considered an involuntary disengagement. Again, lots of special rules for this mission. I doubt I'll use the reserve rules. Unless I roll 100 points, no one will be able to afford to keep 25% or less of their force off the table. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to get close enough to the point limit with both foes, and the underdog rule won't apply either. Night fighting and bad weather rules are all based on a random chance. I've done it lots. I have no problems with these rules. Again, if I roll right, neither effect will come into play. And that will just leave fighting at low altitude, enhanced damage, and limited ammo. And I've chosen to play these rules in the mission anyway. So fighting at low altitude, it means you only have altitude bands 0 through 2. And flying at 0 is kind of hard. Engines suck up dirt and the wings and fuselage tend to get torn up or off. Also, there will be obstructions tall enough to prevent the planes from flying over the obstructions. So if you're not careful, you can fly into terrain and crash. Also, on a collision with other aircraft, both aircraft suffer a damaging hit and roll for random direction facing, unlike the standard rule in the past which only shows the aircraft that is moving suffering the penalties. For enhanced damage, from the companion book, used it last mission, although with errors, mostly with regards to how fire was put out. Should make it harder to shoot down each other and introduce some more interesting effects rather than just structural damage. I just have to remember, fire to smoke on successful handling checks. Fire does not go out. Finally, limited ammo. This will probably help limit the game run, as all weapons will have a limit to how many shots per game they have. This could offset the extra time that can potentially be induced by the enhanced damage rule. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Finally, game length is the normal 12 turns or until one player is left standing, and the victory conditions are the standard victory points from the rulebook. For the Imperial forces, it wasn't too hard to decide on the force composition. I just kept adding 25-point aircraft to the mix. For a 50-point mission, I'm taking the 2 lightning strikes with their multi-lasers. The lightning strikes will be in all 3 lists as my baseline. Lieutenant Morton has a reroll, so that should be helpful to the list. At 75 points, I was going to take a lightning, But again, Lightnings only have las cannons, and las cannons have no short-range shooting. As the mission has the potential for bad weather and or night fighting, it made sense to try to avoid the laser cannons and to try out the Avengers equipped with autocannons. So I'm taking one for the 75-point list. And at 100 points, we have 2 Avengers with autocannons and 2 lightning strikes. All the aircraft will have some short-range fire and infrared targeting. I sort of wish I had the other lightning strikes with missiles available for this mission, but I think it would have made the list building more complicated. This list is nice in that it fully utilizes all available mission points on all levels. There's no spare points to give away to the enemy because you don't use up the full points. And if I get over 50 points, I finally get a chance to try out the Avenger. The Tau lists are a little more complicated than the Imperials simply because Tau have no nice blocks at 25 points or 50 points to utilize in their squadron list. So for 50 points I took a Tiger Shark with ion cannons simply due to the possibility of night fighting, as railguns cannot shoot at short range. Throw in a Remora drone and we fit in at a nice 46 points. I could add a Seeker missile to the Tiger Shark for 2 points, but my reserve funds are kind of low. Also, the drone already has a couple of Seekers. For 75 points, I added 2 more drones and then realized I was 1 point over. So I was forced to decide between a Tiger Shark with railguns or a Barracuda. In the end, I chose the Barracuda with burst cannon because the burst cannons still have short-range shots, and it sets the points below, or rather sets the points at 75 points exactly. I am worried that I am losing a large number of structure points going with a Barracuda instead of a Tiger Shark, but I felt the Barracuda was simply a better choice in this case. Finally, for 100 points, I went back to the Tiger Sharks again, taking 2 Tiger Sharks with ion cannons. There will be just enough points left. I can take 2 Remora drones and we end up at 96 points. Both Tiger Sharks have infrared targeting and armored cockpits. So now off to see what we roll for the missions. So let's start rolling for the Dogfight mission. Starting off, how many points are we going to play? So I rolled a 5, that's going to be 100 points for the mission. We'll roll to see whether or not, or who's going to be the aggressor or deploy first. And it's going to be the Tau deploying first. And finally, rolling for weather, we're rolling for night fight mission again. So we're playing 100 points, Tau deploy first, and we're playing at night. So with the random rolls, we ended up doing a 100-point mission. I've checked the rules and checked how much ammo each weapon type can have. None of the aircraft's weapons have over 9 shots, so all weapons will have enough ammo for 6 volleys of fire. As you can see, I've already prepared my ammo tracking sheet. So taking all 4 aircraft planned for the Imperials, the lightning strikes both have 1 weapon each, and so if on 6 turns of continuous firing, they'll be done. Avengers, on the other hand, have multiple weapons. If they don't fire both forward firing weapons at the same time, they can potentially have 12 turns of fire. The heavy stubber pointing to the rear, I question whether that should count toward keeping a fighter from doing voluntary disengagement if the main forward weapons are out. I think as a house rule, anytime the fixed forward firing weapons are out of ammo, the plane should be allowed to voluntarily disengage. And I think that should also apply to the gun drones for the Tau, though to be honest, it's not so much of an issue as the gun drones do have 360 degrees of fire. It's just, if I'm going to make that allowance for the Imperials, I have to make it for the Tau as well. The Tau have a bit of an advantage in this mission. Besides the multiple weapons on each aircraft, the 2 Tiger Sharks have 10 structure points between them, more than the 8 structure points the Imperial force has. Add in 2 more Remoras, and that gives the Tau 12 structure points, half again what the Imperial have. And when you throw in the armored cockpits of the Tiger Sharks, there's no telling how long it will take to shoot one down. Once again, all the flyers have infrared targeting except the Remoras. So with night fighting, no long-range fire is allowed by anyone, and only the Remoras will have their firing reduced to half at medium range. With 4 aircraft per side, we can potentially have a forced disengagement turn once one side loses 3 aircraft. Of course, in a campaign, it may be preferable to do an involuntary disengagement and save the aircraft rather than allow all the aircraft to be shot down. So, stand by. I need to go hurry up and finish preparing some of those Avengers so the game can be played. So, this is the deployment of the 4th mission, Dogfight. Started off, we deployed the 2 Remora drones on the top left corner of the screen, and the Imperials countered with the 2 Lightnings in the center. I then deployed a Tiger Shark on the far bottom left, countered with one of the Avengers down at the bottom right, and finally I put in that last Tiger Shark. I decided to put this Avenger here to try to deal with the Remoras, and hopefully that way the Lightnings and the other Avenger can deal with the Tiger Sharks. At the moment, everybody is at altitude 2. The Lightning Strikes are at speed 6. The Avengers are at speed 5. One thing I noticed is the Avengers only have a throttle of 1, so I figured it was better to get them done now at 5, and that way they can keep up their speed or slow down as necessary. On the other side, all the tower also at altitude 2. The Remoras are at speed 4 and the Tiger Sharks are at speed 3. I didn't go too crazy with the obstructions simply because I didn't know how much it would impact the game. I'd rather do the first game with fewer obstructions and less chance of really screwing things up. I'm kind of worried that if I have too much terrain on the table, it'll cause too many accidents and not enough dogfighting. So these longer buildings here, they're covering 3 hexes each. The square ones, they're basically just clustering a group of 4 hexes. Most of them have these little protrusions. I'm not going to count that for blocking line of sight or crashing into just the main solid buildings themselves. So as I said, the line of buildings here will block off 3 hexes, and this will block off a group of 4. In fact, I'm going to just change that just a little bit. Yeah, so it's 2 4 hexes now. So I just gotta do some prep work and then we can start the game. So here we go, start of turn 1. Let's roll to see who gets the initiative. The tower at 96 points, the Imperials are at 100, so it's less than 5 points, so no one gets automatic start initiative. As usual, blue for Imperial, white for Tau. And the Tau will roll 5, so they're going to make the Imperials move first. And with that logic, I'm going to start with this Avenger. So he's going speed 5 and he's doing a level flight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll leave it like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the first Tau activation, I think I'm going to activate this Tiger Shark first. So he's doing level flight as well, speed 3. I'm going to drop his speed down to 1. I don't want him getting so far ahead he gets ambushed by all the other Imperials. So he's down to speed 1, altitude 2. He's going to go forward his 1 hex, and that'll be the end of his movement. So, question is, what am I going to do as an Imperial player now? It's hard not to be biased. So, I think I'm just going to let go with one of these lightning strikes. He's going speed 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think I'll leave him at speed 5. So dropping to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to turn and hopefully catch that Tiger Shark as he moves forward. Hopefully. So the real question is, what do I want to move next? And I think I'm going to start with this drone here. I gave him a bank. So he's presently doing speed 4. I think I'm going to keep him at speed 4 for now. So he's going to turn 1, 2, 3. He has to turn once more here. Goes to 4. And he'll go facing forward again. The lightning strike or the Avenger? We pretty much have direct line of sight. The question is, can I get close enough to shoot at him? So he's at speed 5. I'm going to accelerate to speed 6 and see if we can't get up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And staying there, the firing arc will just get him in place. Sorry, I should have mentioned he's doing level flight. So let's activate this Tiger Shark. He's doing level flight as well. He's at speed 3. I'm going to drop him to speed 2. And he moves forward. And this way, his firing angle will help get the Avenger as well. And it just, yeah, it'll just miss this lightning. Too bad. So close, yet so far. That gives us our last lightning. He's got level flight as well. There's a drone straight in front of him. Or should he turn and try to help out his buddy here? And he can go up to speed 8. He's presently at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That'll work. So I'm going to bump him up to speed 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Straighten him out of it. And turn, and that way he's got the other Tiger Shark in his sights. And that's going to just leave the last Tau drone. And the drone is also doing a bank. Now he's doing speed 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm going to take him up to speed 6, which is his maximum speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll turn once, 6, and turn back to face forward again. And now both the drones will have this lightning in their sights. And that's going to take care of movement for turn 1. So the Imperials activated first. They get to shoot first. And it's really not much of a no-brainer. This lightning here, he's got 2 drones about to shoot on him. May as well shoot him first in case the drones get lucky. So, medium range to Tiger Shark number 2. He gets 6 shots. They're same altitude, so it's 5s and 5s. And we've got 3 hits already. That's pilot number 1. Needing 5s to damage. 2 damage. Now the Tau get armored cockpits. They were saved on a 6. No saves for the Tau. Let's roll in the damage table and see what happens to our intrepid Tiger Shark. Well, that's not good. So, number 4 is aircraft loses a single structure and immediately falls into a spin. So, there's our spin. There's our structure. And it doesn't really matter what his order was. Once he's in a spin, he can't do anything. And a 6. Serious hit has caused fuel lines to rupture and the aircraft has begun billowing flames. Place a fire token. We'll use the red dice for that. And you add another structure point. So, first shot of the game. The lightning strike does 2 points of damage on a Tiger Shark, causes it to go into spin and catch fire. Impressive shooting for the first turn. So, first Tau reaction. We're already got 1 Tiger Shark in danger. Tiger Shark number 1, he's going to take a fire at Avenger number 2. So, firing ion cans first, he gets 4 shots, needing 5s and 4s to damage, 6 to extra damage. And we've got 2 hits. 4 plus to damage, 6 to do extra damage. We got 1 point of damage. Now there's no armored cockpit for those guys, so we'll just take and roll to see what kind of effect we're getting. Oops. And he rolled a 3. Damage on the 3 is serious hit has caused the fuel lines to rupture and put the aircraft to begin bellowing flames. Place a flame token on the model. And that's it. So, first turn, we have another aircraft on fire, and when an aircraft is on fire, he can't shoot. So, firing the next weapon, let's fire the missile launchers. 3 shots, requiring 5s to hit, 4s to damage. We got another hit with the missile. Will he damage? No, he does not. And then there's 3 shots with the burst cannon from the gun drones. Again, 5s to hit. We got a single hit. Will he do damage? Yes, he will. What kind of damage will we do? He rolled a 4. Aircraft loses structure point and immediately falls into a spin. So that's not good for him. He only has 2 structure points. And he's on fire, so there's no point keeping that counter there for him, because he can't do anything anymore. And that's it for the first Tau shooting. For the next Imperial action, the only other choice we really have is this lightning here. He's at medium range on Tiger Shark number 2, that's the one that's in a spin. So the good news is they're at the same altitude. So it's 5s to hit normally, but because he's in the spin, it's 6s to hit and then 5s to damage. I only have 6 loads of ammunition. On the other hand, I may not get another better shot at this. So pilot number 2 is going to take a shot at Tiger Shark number 2, needing 6s to hit and 5s to damage. Holy cow. And he's got 3 hits. Can he do more damage? And the answer is no. No damage on that run. But it was a good attempt. So before I forget to mention it, we're looking at the Avenger way over here. There's nothing in his front arc. Everybody moved over to the side and left him alone. That's the problem with moving first. So I'm just going to take his counter off because there's no point. But that's going to leave us with these 2 Remora drones. Have perfect line of sight onto Lightning number 1. So we're going to fire Remora 1 first. They're all at the same altitude. Remoras are at short range. So burst cannons need 5s and 5s to hit. And he's already got 2 hits. Can he do any damage? No, he does not. I do have a seeker missile. I'm going to take and fire one of them. Mostly because I'm probably not going to get a better chance. So 1 shot, needing 5 to hit. And he fails to hit. And that'll be it for Remora 1. We'll go straight to Remora 2. He's also at short range, needing 5s and 5s. Single hit. Can he damage? No, he does not. And again, he's got 2 seeker missiles. I'm going to take and fire 1. Leave him with 1. And needing 5s to hit. He hits. I believe he damages on a 3, but I'll double check. Doesn't matter. 5 for sure does hit, does damage. Let's roll in the damage table. Roll to 5. And in this case, number 5, engine is hit and begins belching smoke. So we're going to take a smoke counter, put it on him. Additionally, the aircraft loses a single structure point. So we'll put a damage point on him as well. Now the good news is when you're trailing smoke, you can still shoot, but you suffer -1 to hit. So we're good there. And that will end all the shooting for turn 1. So we're in the end phase of turn 1. We're going to try to do it right this time. So the end phase in order of execution. Supposed to check for voluntary disengagements. So far there are none. Then we're supposed to look at stalled aircraft. So first one that's stalled. Let's take and roll. We have to do a handling check. So for the Avenger, handling check is on a 2+. Can he do it? And he does. So he recovers from the spin. Now multiple things happen. First, he drops in altitude, so he's dropping from altitude 2 to altitude 1. He goes to maximum speed, which in his case is speed 6. He's already at 6. And then we have a random direction facing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to go 5. So he's facing that way now. He still has his fire and damage at this point. We're just going to take care of the other spins first before I do something else wrong. So this Tiger Shark is also in a spin. His handling, I believe, is a 4. And I seem to have misplaced the card at the moment. he's going to fail his handling. So he's going to continue to fall. And so he's dropping from altitude 2 to altitude 1. Which is not a good thing, because when he recovers from a spin, he still drops another altitude. So that takes care of the spins. Now we take care of smoke. And this lightning over here has smoke. Again, this is handled on the handling check. And he's going to fail his handling check. So we roll to see what the result is going to be. He rolls a 6. So for smoke, he's going to pass and just continue to have the smoke continue to trail behind him. So no more smoke or no extra smoke, but he continues to smoke. He'll suffer a -1 to hit next turn. Next we deal with fire. The reason we deal with fire after smoke, if you roll low on the smoke, you get fire. So let's try this guy again. Handling 2+. He passes. His fire turns into a smoke. Yeah, got it right this time. And for our tiger shark, again, he needs to pass his handling, which is a 4+. He rolled a 3. That's not good. What's going to happen to him? He rolls a 4 for fire. Flames are extinguished, but he continues to billow smoke. So replace him with a smoke counter. And we continue, and that's it for all the flames, all the smoke. Next thing is tailing. Closest thing to tailing we have is this guy here. Fortunately, the arc comes this way, so the tiger shark's out of the arc, but also the tiger shark is in a spin, so he can't do anything anyway. And that takes care of the end phase and the end of turn 1. So here we are beginning of turn 2. There's no tailing fire or anything, just rolling to see who has initiative. And it looks like the Imperials have the initiative, and they're going to make the Tau go first. So, knowing the Tau have to go first, there's really... I'm going to use this drone first, and he chose to do a 7. So that's going to be a bank. He's traveling speed 4. I'm going to change his speed to 6, which is maximum speed. So he's going to turn this way once. 1, 2, turn 3, 4. Turn back this way, 5, 6. Let's hope that's not a mistake. You would think I would know because I'm the one that gave everybody their orders, but sometimes I just can't remember. I think my best bet to move this Avenger. So, gave him a swoop. He's presently traveling speed 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm gonna leave him at speed 5. So he's gonna turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that will be his activation. So right now, he's just peeking between the buildings into this general direction. Next one to activate, I'm going to do this drone here. He's chosen to do a bank as well. He's traveling speed 6. In for a penny, in for a pound. So he's going to turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has to make at least one of these, 6. And then he's going to turn back to face this way. And let's hope I don't regret that one. Going to move Lightning Strike 1. He's presently at speed 5. And you know what? I don't really want to move him that fast. He's got a decent enough position here. I'm going to drop him from 5 down to 2. He's got a throttle setting of 3. 1, 2, 3. He's just going to move forward 1, 2. And if I stay here like that, I've got the drone in my sight. And hopefully I've got that tiger shark coming around the corner. Last Tau activation that I can do is going to be this tiger shark. He's traveling speed 1. I've got acceleration of 2. I'm going to bump him up to speed 3. 2, 3. 1, 2. Turn once, 3. And that will be it for Imperial, or sorry, for Tau activations. That leaves us with, he's moved. We still have this lightning here, and we have this Avenger. Avenger is doing a stoop. So he's presently traveling speed 6. Turn this way. 1, 2, 3. Turn 4. And he's going to turn 2 hex sides. 5, 6. And I'm going to climb to altitude level 2, which will bring my speed down to 5 at the beginning of next turn. And that just leaves my friend here, and he was doing a turn. He's traveling speed 7. I think we'll leave him there. So he's going to turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can turn either way, can't I? I'm going to go 1 more hex and turn 2 hexes this way. And there he is at 7. And he'll have the drone. Oh, the drone's in partial cover. We'll have to look up the rules and see what that does. But he's there, and he's ready to take a shot. And that's it for a move of turn 2. So Tau moved first, so Tau will get to shoot first. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and shoot this lightning with the tiger shark. So firing 4 shots with the ion cannon because it's medium range. He'll hit once. Damage on a 4 plus, extra damage on a 6. And he will fail to damage. 3 missile shots, hitting on 5s, damaging on 4s. 2 hits with missiles. Can we damage? We got 1 damage. There's no armor on him, so we just rolled to see what the effect is going to be. And we rolled a 4, which is he takes a spin and loses a structure point right away. So there's our structure point of damage, and there's our spin token. So final shooting from the Tiger Shark. We're going to have the drones take a shot at the same lightning. Again, needing 5s and 5s to damage, and that's going to be a 1. So none of the drone shots yet. So for the first Imperial activation for turn 2, I was going to take and have this lightning take a shot at the drone. However, I realized way over here I have an Avenger going head to head with the drone. Now normally I would shoot at the first drone because if I don't shoot at him, he gets a chance to jinx. The problem here is if I don't shoot the Avenger first, this drone, which is presently at long range, medium range, which is best for the Avenger, if the Avenger doesn't shoot now, that drone will jinx forward a little bit and have the Avenger at short range and be able to shoot the Avenger before the Avenger can shoot at the drone. So we're not going to take that chance. We're going to go after the drone here that's going head to head. So Avenger has Avenger Bolt Cannon, medium range, gets 5 dice, needing 5s to hit, 4s to damage, and 6s do extra damage. So let's see what we can roll. Oh, he's trailing smoke. Instead of a 5+, it's a 6. And he managed to get 2 hits on the drone, needing 4+ to damage. He damages both. The drone has no extra protection, so he rolls straight onto the damage chart. And I'll have to double check here. Number 2 is engine is hit and begins belching smoke. That's it. So we'll put down a smoke counter. And the 6 is serious hit has caused fuel lines to catch fire. So we put down a fire marker, except it also does 1 structure point immediately. The drone only has 1 structure point, so the drone is destroyed. Just a side note before I go any farther, the Avenger does not have anybody in his tail arc, so he can't use the heavy stubber pointing to the rear. And although the Tiger Shark is in his front arc, he can only fire at 1 target per arc each turn. Next activation for the Tau. There really is only one other activation. This drone will activate, and remember what I said about ducking or getting out of trouble? He will jinx behind the building. That will block all line of sight to the drone. And that'll be the end of the shooting phase for the drone because there's nothing in his front arc. And more importantly, he's safe from being shot at by the lightning strike behind him. The only other Tau aircraft which has not activated is this Tiger Shark number 2 over here. Unfortunately, he's in a spin. He can't actually do anything. So that's going to be it for Tau for the rest of the game, or sorry, for the rest of the turn. The lightning in the corner, he's unfortunately not going to be able to shoot at anything. He no longer has line of fire on anything. And this Avenger over here, unfortunately, the only target he has is that Tiger Shark 2, which is in a spin. Now, he could shoot at the Tiger Shark. He's presently at, the Avenger's at altitude 2, the Tiger Shark's at 1, so that would make it a 6 to hit. But this is the dilemma for me. That Tiger Shark
has to roll to try to recover this turn. He's already at altitude 1. Even if he were to recover, he's got to go down one more level, which is 0. He's going to crash. So that's going to take him out of the game. At this point, the other lightning strike has credit for the kill. I'd rather the lightning strike get the credit than the Avenger. So the Avenger's going to withhold fire and save his ammo. And so that'll take care of shooting for turn 2. So we're in the end phase of turn 2. And the first thing we need to check for is that conditions for voluntary disengagement. The answer is not quite yet. We still have 3 aircraft in the air, including that Tiger Shark for the Tau that's about to crash anyway. And the Imperials have all 4 of their aircraft in the air still. So at this point there's no voluntary disengagement. There's nobody stalled, everyone's going above their minimum speed. That takes us to the spin section. And we've got 2 planes in spin. So the first one is the Lightning over here. Now his handling check, he's got a 3+, and he will fail the spin. So that's not good for the Imperials, because he's dropping now to altitude 1, and he's basically got the same situation now that the Tiger Shark has. Even if he were to recover, he's still going to drop a level and he's going to crash. So there's no point even looking at him any further. The only other spin, of course, is the Tiger Shark. And just for morale's sake, we'll see if he tried to pull up or not. He did. So in theory, he has to now go maximum speed, which for him is 5. 3, 4, 5, and he's going to drop down to altitude 0, which will make him crash. But I'm curious to see which direction he would end up facing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2. He would have recovered and crashed straight into the building anyway. So anyway, he reached altitude 0. He crashes and burns. He's gone. So technically that's first kill for the Imperials. So now all we have to roll is smoke. And the first one up, we'll do the Lightning over here. Again, handling check 3+. And he makes it, so the smoke will go out. Rolling for the Avenger. He's got a handling check of 2. And he fails, surprisingly. Let's roll to see what happens. He's going to roll a 5. So nothing happens. He just continues to smoke for the rest of the turn. And in next recovery phase, he can try to put it out. And if he fails, there's a chance he'll catch fire. And that's it for the end phase of turn 2. Well, it's the beginning of turn 3. Let's roll to see who has the initiative. Right now, Tower at a huge disadvantage. They're outnumbered 2 to 1. But 3 of the Imperial fighters have damage. This one's going to crash this turn. We don't even have to shoot at it. And yeah, it's still anybody's game. So Tau do not want to move first anyway. Tie roll. Tau win. They're going to make Imperials move first. Although it's probably not going to help the Tau a whole bunch. So first one to activate. I think we're going to have to make it this guy here. He is the most out of the way. I had considered flying him off the board just because he's already got a kill, he's got experience, and if he takes another damage point, he could get shot down. But we're going to take a chance, see if we can still use him. So he's presently traveling speed 7. He's doing a stoop. We're going to turn once. 1. Turn again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn twice. Or sorry. Yeah. Turn twice. 1, 2. And he's now facing down behind the building. So unless he gets out of that line of sight, that drone's going to be targeted. And speaking of the drone, I may as well move him next. For him, I chose for him to do a swoop. Now he's presently going speed 6. I think... Moral difficulty. He has a throttle of 2. I can drop him down to 4. And I think... that's what I'm going to do. He's going to drop to altitude or speed 4. He's going to turn this way. 1, 2. Turn this way. 3, 4. And he's going to have to hope that the other Avenger overflies him. And that'll be it for the drone. That leaves us with the 2 Avengers to decide what to do with. Remember, this lightning's in a spin. He's not going to be able to do anything. I'm going to activate this Avenger. He's doing level flight. He's presently going speed 5. I can drop him 1 speed, and I think I will. So he's going to reduce speed from 5 to 4. And to make it more difficult, well, we'll figure that out later. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm going to go 2, turn, 3, 4. That way he avoids getting into the front arc of that drone. And even if the drone jinks, there's no way for him to draw a line of sight. Oh, yes, there is. He tried to make it so that the drone couldn't possibly draw a line of sight to him. But to make it harder, he's dropping from 2 to altitude 1. And as the drone is at 2, it'll be +1 to hit. So instead of hitting on 5s, it'll be 6s. That means I have to activate the Tiger Shark. And he's selected to go 3, which is a turn. So I'm presently going speed 3. 1, 2, 3. And I think I'll leave him at that speed. So turn 1, 2, 3. Turn twice. And he now has the undamaged Avenger in front of him. And that leaves us with our final flyer. And he's doing a stall turn. Again, what speed is he going? He's going speed 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll still be short range. I'm not going to take the chance. We'll still do 1, 2, 3, 4. Do our 180. Move forward to 5. He's going to be at short range no matter what he did. May as well make it so he didn't have any chance of hitting that building if something happens to him this turn. And that'll be it for movement for turn 3. So the aircraft with the best chance of hitting and doing damage right now, believe it or not, is this Avenger who dove to level 1. He's at medium range attacking that Tiger Shark one. So he's going to shoot first. At medium range, he gets 5 shots with his Avenger bolt cannon, but he needs 6s to hit and then 4s to damage. So let's see what happens. 6s to hit. We got 2 hits. Need 4+ to damage.
On a 6, it's 2 damage points. Rolled a 1 and a 3, so the Avenger Bolt Cannon does nothing. He does have autocannons, so that's another 3 shots. Again, needing 6s to hit. We got a single hit. And need a 4+ to damage. And he will damage. Will the armored cockpit stop the damage? No, it will not, so damage goes through. Let's see what we get for damage this time around. Rolled a 5. So the engine is hit, begins belching smoke, so that's the white. And the aircraft suffers 1 structure point. So he has successfully damaged the Tiger Shark, but the Tiger Shark still has 4 more hull points. And anyway, I think I'm just going to leave the camera running. We'll activate the first shot for the Tau, and that's going to be the Tiger Shark shooting back at the Avenger. So we'll take his counter away, and we'll take his counter away. Tiger Shark at this range, he has 4 shots with his ion cannon. Again, needing 6s to hit, 4s to damage. Oh, we got 2 6s. 4+ to damage. We got a 6 and a 2, so there is damage going in. And unfortunately, the Avenger does not have armored cockpit, so we roll straight onto damage. He rolls a 4. He loses a structure point and falls into a spin. We are getting a lot of spins here. There's no doubt there. Next to shoot will be the missiles. 3 shots, needing 6s. Although, hang on. Technically, he's in a spin already. It's going to take 7s to hit, so he's going to stop there. And that'll be it for shooting for the Tiger Shark. It's now the Imperial side to shoot. The only one with a shot is this Avenger at close range to the Tiger Shark. He doesn't have a lot of shots, but he does have shots. So, short range, same altitude, needing 5s to hit and 4+ to damage with his bolt cannon. He gets 2 shots. He will hit once. Can he damage? No, he failed to damage. 1 shot with an autocannon. And he will miss with the autocannon, and that'll be it for shooting for the Imperials this turn. So, end of shooting phase, turn 3. This Avenger here, unfortunately, it's questionable whether he has line of sight to this drone, but the drone is at 8 hexes away, so he's at long range. He can't be shot at anyway. And as for the drone, even if he were to jinx over to get that other Avenger in his line of sight, the sad fact is the Avenger is now in a spin and at altitude below, so that's +1 to hit for each. He needed 5s to hit, and he was now hitting on 7s. There's no point in doing it. So that'll end the shooting phase for the turn. So this is the end phase of turn 3. Well, first things to check. Are we at the position where we need to do voluntary disengagements? The answer is no. Imperials still have 3 fighters, that's 75% of their force. And Tau still have 50% of their force with the drone and the Tiger Shark. If the Tau lose 1 more aircraft, they can be forced to voluntarily disengage. So, next up, check for stalls. Nobody's at a stall speed, so we start looking at the spins. So let's look at the lightning strike first. Again, he needs a 3+, but he's going to crash anyway. So yeah, he would have come out of the spin, drop one more altitude to altitude 0, and crash and burn. So lightning strike is gone in spite of finally succeeding to get out of the spin just a few seconds too late. Next aircraft, we got the Avenger number 1. Let's see what he does. He needs a 2+ for his handling check. He's fine, so he gets out of the spin. He goes to his max speed. Max speed for Avenger is speed 6. So change speed from 4 to 6. He's going to drop a level of altitude. Oh, I forgot I dove him. So he crashes too. Both Avengers are gone. That was silly of me. Well, it was an attempt to get away from the drone, but it doesn't matter. So that takes care of the spins. Let's see about the smoke. So 3+, the smoke goes away. And it does. For the Tiger Shark, again, 3+ and the smoke goes away. It does. So Tiger Shark has 1 point of damage, as does the Avenger and the Lightning Strike. And it's literally anybody's game again, because wouldn't you know it, both sides are down to 2 players each, or 2 aircraft each. So we're at the top of turn 4, rolling to see who has initiative. And Imperials have initiative. And because I know what's happening, I'll just say the Imperials are going to move first. So it was a tough decision for me, but this is a campaign. I want to keep people alive where possible. Imperials have already lost 2 aircraft. So basically my intent here was he's going to do a turn, or sorry, swoop, turn 1 to space, turn, and he's off the board. And same with this guy. He's doing the same maneuver, off the board. The idea is not that they weren't capable of continuing to fight, but rather I needed to try to maintain them for future advantages during the campaign. The drone has no damage, so there's no problem for him. And the Tiger Shark, even if he wanted to move off the map, he doesn't have the right maneuver to do it. So because the Imperials left while they were still above 25%, that's going to count as involuntary disengagement for both the Avenger and the Lightning Strike. And that will end the game at turn 4. Remember when I said in the last mission, The Straggler, how I thought enhanced damage rules would make the games last longer? I lied. Well, I was wrong anyway. If you're playing at low altitude, the game tends to end sooner. Of the 4 aircraft to be destroyed in the game, only the Remora blew up in midair. The rest of the aircraft died because they were in spins and crashed. And that's something that almost never happens in the base rules if you maintain your speed, altitude, and avoid stalls. In fact, because of the low altitude rule of only level 2, only 1 aircraft in the game managed to recover from a spin. Tiger Shark 2 was hit in turn 1, failed to recover in the end phase, fell to altitude 1, managed to recover in the end phase of turn 2, but fell to altitude 0 as part of the recovery. Lightning 2 was hit in turn 2, failed to recover in the end phase, fell to altitude 1, and then recovered in the end phase of turn 3, but once again fell to altitude 0 as part of the recovery. Avenger Strike 1 dropped to altitude 1 in turn 3 to make it harder to be hit, but he still managed to get hit, entered a spin, and crashed that same turn. The only one to survive was Avenger Strike 2. He was hit and entered a spin, but managed to recover in the same turn, but still dropped to level 1.
Fortunately, the Avenger did climb to level 2 the next chance it had. You may have noticed I didn't wait a turn to roll on the stall recovery like I did last game. That was more accidental than anything else. It really depended on how you chose to interpret the rules. If you look at the rules as written, it should be clear that it applies to any aircraft entering the spin in the previous turn when you can roll for recovery. So I did err on that. It just means the aircraft crashed a turn early, as everything else was done right procedurally. Looking at the other rules in play for today. Enhanced damage. Well, we did it correctly this time. The number of aircraft entering a spin was quite surprising, but otherwise the rules worked fine. The limited ammo rule didn't really come into play this game, as the minimum ammo rule was 6, and the game ended in turn 4 with the Imperials flying off the table. Low altitude area of engagement. Well, this is the one that had the most impact. First, I didn't realize how lethal entering a spin was until this mission. Usually, without the low altitude rules, you're flying altitude 3 or higher, so you usually have multiple turns to attempt to recover a spin. In a low altitude game, you get one chance, and only if you're at altitude 2 when you enter it. Secondly, there's no real escaping from shooting as long as you're flying. All flyers are at altitude 1 or 2 when flying, so with the maximum difference of 1 altitude, you're going to usually be getting hit on either a 5 or a 6. The only exception is if you decide to land, and if you land, you're out of range from those at altitude 2, but altitude 1 can still strafe you. Finally, terrain was blocking line of sight and restricting maneuvers and speed. The more terrain you have on the table, the more restricted the maneuvers and or the speed as you're flying. There were a couple times I was forced to do a level flight simply because I had terrain in the way and I hadn't anticipated that the turn before. I did manage to avoid collisions with terrain, but it was a low model count game and I did limit the amount of terrain. I think in the future, if I were to include terrain and include more, I would try to have corridors of 3 hexes wide just so the models would have some room for those that overhang their base. And where you have the narrow part like the building ends like I had, narrow paths are fine, but I would still probably allow 1 or 2 hexes there. Finally, I'm going to talk about the Avenger Strike Fighter, as it's the first time I used it, and I was reasonably impressed with it. I found it had excellent firepower for a 2-structure fighter and had only 25 points with the extra weapons. This time I was using autocannons. I think the last cannon version is a decent choice as long as you know you're not going to be doing night fight. The autocannon is excellent for medium and short range. The aircraft had excellent handling with a 2+ recovery. You actually needed to roll a 1 to fail your recovery tests. Decent maneuverability because it's able to do maneuvers 1 through 6. And a decent speed of 6. It's not the fastest, it's not the most maneuverable, but it's decent. Where it sort of suffered was poor throttle and speed management. With a throttle of 1, it's difficult to handle the increased speed changes of other flyers. To increase or decrease 2 speed, you either have to dive or climb 1 altitude band. And that's really hard to do and get away with in a low-level game. Finally, poor structure. Again, it's a 2-structure fighter. It's become more typical, and it does explain why the aircraft is so cheap. But that's the only real problem I had with the aircraft, was the poor throttle and only 2-structure. Anyway, regardless, this was a fun game with lots of unexpected thrills happening throughout. Let's take a look at what happened to the squadrons. Imperials lost 2 fighters, losing full points for the Lightning Strike with Lieutenant Niverville and the Avenger Strike with Lieutenant Hartley, giving up 50 points total to the Tau. Lieutenant Morton managed to kill in his Lightning Strike, as did Lieutenant Lin in the Avenger Strike. Unfortunately, both aircraft suffered damage and left the area of engagement too soon, causing them to give up full points as well for an involuntary disengagement, and a grand total of 100 points for the Tau. On the Tau side, they lost pilot Vetor On Tiger Shark 2 in an uncontrollable spin worth 34 points. They also lost one of their drones for another 14 points. And Pilot Biscay survived with minor damage, giving up half his points, but he did manage to rack up 2 kills in the process. 2 more kills and Biscay will gain Ace skill. So Tau give up 65 points to the Imperials in this mission. For mission results, Tau get a full 100 points as the entire Imperial force was either destroyed or fled the area of engagement as an involuntary disengagement with damage. There were no extra mission points and no list points as the Tau were cheaper than the Imperial force. The Imperials get 65 points for the damage they caused. Again, no mission points, but the Imperials do get a bonus 4 points for having a 100-point list over the Tau 96 points. This 4 points will bring the Imperials to a total of 69. So at 100 to 69, Tau win their second game. Regarding campaign points, because of their win, the Tau gain another 3 CP, where the Imperial Navy gains 1. So Tau are tied with the Imperial, each with 8 campaign points at this time. So tied campaign, it's anyone's game next time around. So Lieutenant Morden and Lieutenant Lin gain mission experience and 1 kill each. Lieutenant Morden needs 2 more kills to gain an ace skill, but he has become the highest rated pilot for the Imperials at this time. Lieutenant Lin still needs another mission before getting an ace designation and a reroll. Replacement pilots, Lieutenant Pine takes over the attrition replacement lightning strike with the infrared, and replacement pilot Lieutenant Rivers takes over the attrition replacement Avenger Strike Fighter with infrared and autocannons. There were no changes made to either fighter, so no loss of reserve funds, and both will be available next mission. Finally, Lieutenant Oak and Lieutenant Plum have completed their 1 mission hiatus. They are available in the new lightning strikes with missiles starting next mission. For the Tau, Pilot Biscay is now at 3 missions and 3 kills. That's the most kills of any pilot in the Tau fleet. In fact, Biscay is the only living pilot with an ace designation and has a reroll. The Remora drone, REM-01, has 2 missions, and the artificial intelligence has now earned a reroll as well. We replaced the Lost Tiger Shark with the same, with Pilot Tang-Al, and we got another Remora drone, REM-02 Alpha. Now we just need to gain some more experience for the other Tau pilots somehow. That's it for this mission. Next mission is the Chase. The Chase will be using the rolling area of engagement rule for the first time. Chase also offers a number of optional rules as well. The low-level rules, the night fighting rules, and bad weather. I might even use enhanced damage and limited ammo rules. Time will tell. I'll have to decide how I feel just before we do the mission. There may be a delay as I'm still dealing with real life. Meanwhile, I hope you all are having fun out there. Be safe and good gaming.